The large silver ship hung in the sky above New York City. It was the third day since the aliens had arrived, and people were still getting used to the sight. News cameras from around the world pointed upward, capturing every moment as smaller craft shuttled between the mothership and the temporary landing zone in Central Park. General Alan Wright stood at the edge of the landing zone with his hands clasped behind his back. Next to him, Jack Miller adjusted his tie for the 5th time in 10 minutes. "Stop fidgeting," Alan said quietly. "You're supposed to be Earth's ambassador, not a nervous kid at prom." Jack took a deep breath. "Sorry, sir. It's not every day you meet aliens for the first time." At 42, Jack had spent his career in diplomacy, but nothing had prepared him for representing all of humanity. The air hummed as another shuttle descended. This one was different, more ornate, with glowing blue symbols along its hull. The crowd of officials and reporters fell silent. "That's the big one," Alan whispered, "their High Council representative." When the craft landed, a door melted open rather than sliding or swinging. Out stepped a tall, slender figure with pale blue skin. Its 4 eyes blinked independently as it surveyed the humans. Behind it came 4 more aliens of different shapes and colors, representatives from other species in what they called the Galactic Confederation. The lead alien approached Jack and Alan. Up close, Jack could see intricate patterns on its skin that seemed to shift slightly, like living tattoos. "I am Zixtal," it said in perfect English, its voice coming from a small device at its throat. "Chief Observer for newly discovered civilizations. I bring greetings from the 17 United Species of the Confederation." Jack stepped forward. "I'm Jack Miller, appointed ambassador for Earth. We welcome you to our world." He gestured to Alan. "This is General Wright, representing our defense forces." Zixtal's upper eyes narrowed slightly in what Jack would later learn was an expression of amusement. "Your defense forces are noted, though hardly necessary. We come as friends to welcome a new young species." There was something in the way Zixtal said "young" that made Jack's diplomatic instincts tingle. It sounded almost patronizing. 3 days later, Jack sat with Lieutenant Kate Davis in a conference room aboard the alien mothership. Kate had been assigned as his military advisor due to her background in both engineering and linguistics. At 35, she had a reputation for straight talk and quick thinking. "They're treating us like children," Kate whispered as they waited for the aliens to return. Jack nodded slightly. "I noticed. Everything they say has this tone of 'look how impressive the little humans are with their cute little civilization.'" The door opened, and Zixtal entered with 2 other aliens. One was small with green, scale-like skin. The other was massive with 4 arms and a face that resembled an Earth octopus. "We have reviewed your historical and technological data," Zixtal announced. "The Confederation has classified Earth as a Type 3 juvenile civilization." "And what exactly does that mean?" Jack asked carefully. The green alien spoke through its translator. "It means you are promising but very young. Your recorded history spans merely 10,000 years. Your space exploration is primitive, but there is potential. We've prepared appropriate technological gifts," the 4-armed alien added. "Nothing too advanced, of course. We must be responsible in guiding developing worlds." Kate's jaw tightened, but Jack placed a calming hand on her arm. "We appreciate your generosity," he said. "When might Earth be invited to join the Confederation officially?" Zixtal's skin patterns swirled in what seemed like surprise. "Oh, that is already approved. We welcome Earth as a probationary member, with full membership possible in perhaps 50 of your years, assuming proper development." After the meeting, back in their private quarters, Kate paced angrily. "Probationary members? 50 years. They're treating the entire human race like we're applying for space college." Jack stared out the viewport at Earth below. "For now, we smile and play along. We learn everything we can about their technology, their history, their politics." He turned to Kate with determination in his eyes. "They think we're children, Kate. That gives us an advantage they don't even realize." "How so?" Nobody expects much from children, Jack said with a small smile. And nobody watches them very carefully either. 6 months after first contact, Earth was still adjusting to its new place in the galaxy. Alien technology had begun to change daily life, though the Confederation carefully controlled what they shared. They called it appropriate developmental assistance. Dr. Sam Powell brushed dust from his hands as he examined the ancient pottery shard. Around him, the archaeological dig site in Turkey hummed with activity. Both human and alien researchers moved carefully through the excavation, using tools both old and new. "Find anything interesting?" asked Dr. Lisa Green as she approached. The summer heat had turned her face red, but her eyes were bright with excitement. Sam shook his head. Just more of the same. Pottery from about 9,000 years ago. He glanced over at the alien archaeologists with their hovering scan devices. They don't seem very impressed. The leader of the alien team, Dr. Velnera, floated over to them on her gravity belt. Her body was thin and tall like most members of her species, with skin that shifted between purple and blue depending on the light. "These ruins are quite primitive," she said, her translator making her sound almost bored. "But they match our models for early civilization development." Lisa tried not to show her irritation. This site represents one of humanity's first permanent settlements, the beginning of agriculture, animal domestication, and complex society. "Yes, exactly as expected for a species at your development stage," Velnera replied. "We've seen this pattern on hundreds of worlds. First settlements appear around 10,000 to 15,000 years before a species reaches space travel." Sam and Lisa exchanged looks. Over the past months, they had grown tired of the aliens' predictable responses. To them, humans were just another young species following a standard development path. Later that evening, the joint archaeological team gathered in the command tent. Maps and artifacts covered the tables, while holographic displays showed 3D models of the dig site. "Tomorrow we move to the underwater scanning," announced Paul Cooper, the expedition coordinator. "The Confederation has agreed to let us use their deep scanning technology in the Mediterranean." Velnera's assistant, a squat reptilian alien named Grex, made a dismissive sound. "A waste of resources. Your Mediterranean settlements are all from your Bronze Age or later." "We have theories about older settlements now underwater," Lisa argued. "Sea levels were much lower during the last ice age." "Yes, we know your theories," Velnera said politely. "But they would only push human civilization back another few thousand years, still within expected parameters." That night, Sam couldn't sleep. He sat outside his tent looking at the stars, now knowing which ones had planets with intelligent life. "Trouble sleeping?" Lisa asked, sitting down beside him with 2 cups of coffee. Sam took one gratefully. "I keep thinking about how they've got us all figured out. Every step of human history, predicted by their models." He sipped the hot coffee. "Doesn't that bother you? That we're so predictable?" "Maybe we're not," Lisa said with a small smile. "Remember those anomalous readings from the preliminary scans? The ones Velnera dismissed as equipment errors?" Sam nodded. "The deep structures, about 40 miles offshore. What about them?" "I recalibrated their scanning device when they weren't looking," Lisa admitted. "Those weren't errors. There's something down there, Sam. Something big." The next morning, the team boarded the research vessel that would take them to the scan site. Massive alien equipment had been mounted on the deck, making the human ship look primitive in comparison. As they reached the target coordinates, Velnera began activating the scanning array. "We'll humor your theories, but don't be disappointed when we find nothing but natural formations." The scan began, sending powerful signals deep into the seabed. At first, the holographic display showed only layers of sediment and rock. Velnera looked satisfied. Then the computer beeped. New data flowed in. The hologram shifted, revealing straight lines and perfect angles buried beneath the seafloor. "That's not natural," Sam said, his voice barely above a whisper. Velnera's skin darkened to deep purple, a sign of surprise in her species. "No," she agreed, her professional dismissiveness gone. "It's not." The image continued to form, showing the unmistakable outline of massive structures, a complex of buildings larger than anything from ancient human history. The computer's dating estimate appeared on screen. 35,000 years old. For the first time since they'd met her, Velnera looked genuinely stunned. 3 days after the discovery, a fleet of submarines gathered at the research site. 2 were human vessels, while the third was a Confederation exploration pod that could dive deeper than anything Earth had built. Sam and Lisa stood on the deck of the main research ship, watching as technicians prepared the diving equipment. The morning sun glinted off the water, giving no hint of the ancient mystery lying beneath. "The Confederation Council is very interested in your discovery," Velnera said, approaching them. Her tone had changed since the scan results. There was respect in her voice now, and something else. Worry. "Shouldn't they be?" Lisa asked. "This changes everything about your understanding of human history." Velnera's skin rippled, and what they had learned was a sign of discomfort. "There is a debate. Some believe the structures could be from non-human visitors to ancient Earth." Sam frowned. "You think aliens built them? It would fit our models better than humans achieving such architecture 35,000 years ago." Lisa crossed her arms. "So either we're wrong about the age, or humans didn't build it. Those are the only options your people will consider." "It is difficult to adjust established theories," Velnera admitted. An hour later, Sam found himself inside the Confederation diving pod with Lisa and Velnera. The craft hummed softly as it descended through the dark water. Lights from the external cameras cast an eerie blue glow inside the cabin. "Approaching the site," said Grex, who was piloting the pod. "Depth 400 feet. On the view screen, the sea floor appeared, flat and muddy. Then suddenly, it wasn't flat anymore. A massive shape emerged from the gloom. A wall, perfectly straight, stretching into the darkness. "That's not natural," Lisa whispered, echoing Sam's words from days earlier. Velnera's fingers moved rapidly over her control panel. "The structure is buried under only a thin layer of sediment. It should have been destroyed by ocean currents long ago. Unless it was designed to last," Sam suggested. They followed the wall until they reached what appeared to be an entrance. A perfect archway, its surface smooth despite thousands of years underwater. The pod's lights revealed symbols carved into the stone around the arch. "Are those letters?" Lisa asked, leaning closer to the screen. Sam felt his heart racing. They looked similar to proto-writing from the earliest human civilizations, but more complex. "We need to go inside," Velnera said. Her scientific curiosity had clearly overcome her disbelief. The diving pod eased through the ancient doorway into a vast chamber. The ceiling rose at least 50 feet above them, supported by columns arranged in precise geometric patterns. More symbols covered the walls, along with images that seemed to tell a story. "This is impossible," Grex muttered. "Primitive humans could not build something like this." "Careful who you're calling primitive," Lisa said sharply. As they moved deeper into the structure, their lights revealed side chambers filled with objects. Some appeared to be furniture, others looked like machines, all preserved by some unknown method that had prevented decay. "Look at this," Sam called, pointing to a section of wall. The pod moved closer. There, carved with incredible precision, was an image of the night sky, with stars and constellations marked by the same symbols they had seen at the entrance. "Those are star charts," Velnera said, her voice hushed. "Accurate ones." In the center of the main chamber stood a raised platform. On it was a single object, a disk made of a material that gleamed like metal but seemed to absorb their lights rather than reflect them. "We need to retrieve that," Lisa said. "Agreed," Velnera replied, no longer the condescending alien expert, but a fellow scientist faced with a mystery beyond her understanding. As the pod's mechanical arm carefully lifted the disk, Symbols along its edge began to glow with a soft blue light. "It's still active," Sam breathed. "After 35,000 years underwater, it's still working." The disk pulsed once, twice, and then projected a holographic image, a map of Earth, but with coastlines that hadn't existed for millennia. Points of light marked locations around the globe. There are more sites, Lisa realized. This isn't the only one. Velnera's skin had darkened to the deepest purple Sam had ever seen it. "We need to contact the Confederation Council immediately," she said. "And your Earth governments. This changes everything." News of the Mediterranean discovery spread quickly across Earth and throughout the Confederation. Within weeks, research teams using the same scanning technology found similar structures off the coasts of Japan, Cuba, and Western Africa. Jack Miller stood before the main screen in the Earth Embassy aboard the Confederation station. Reports and images from the new sites flashed before him. Each structure showed the same architectural style and the same strange symbols. "They're all from the same time period," Kate said, scrolling through the data. "All approximately 35,000 years old, all built with technology that shouldn't have existed back then. And the Confederation is in an uproar," Jack added. "I've never seen them so rattled." Kate nodded. "They built their entire understanding of us on the belief that we're newcomers. Now that's falling apart." A soft chime announced a visitor. The door slid open to reveal Zixtal. The alien skin patterns were moving rapidly, a sign of stress they had learned to recognize. "Ambassador Miller, Lieutenant Davis," Zixtal said, her voice lacking its usual confidence. "I must speak with you regarding these discoveries." Jack gestured to a chair. "Please, sit." "The Confederation Council is concerned," Zixtal began. "These findings contradict our understanding of Earth's development timeline." "You mean they prove you were wrong about us?" Kate said bluntly. Zixtal's upper eyes narrowed. "Some on the Council believe these structures could be evidence of non-human intervention in your past." Jack leaned forward. "Or evidence that humans were more advanced than you assumed. Have you considered that possibility?" "It would be unprecedented," Zixtal replied. "No other world has shown this pattern." "Maybe you weren't looking hard enough," Kate suggested. Back on Earth, Sam and Lisa coordinated the global research effort from a hastily assembled command center in Rome. Teams around the world reported findings hourly. "The African site team found something," Paul announced, rushing into the room with a tablet. "Something big." He placed the tablet on the table, showing images of a sealed chamber deep within the underwater structure off the coast of Western Africa. Inside was a device unlike anything they had seen before, a crystalline cube about 3 feet on each side, mounted on a pedestal. "It appears to be some kind of information storage device," said Velnera, who had joined the Earth research team full-time. Her fascination with the discoveries had overridden her initial skepticism. "Designed to survive for millennia." "Can we access it?" Lisa asked. Paul shook his head. "Not with our technology. Not even with the tech the Confederation has shared with us." Sam looked at Velnera. "What about your advanced systems? The ones you haven't shared with us because we're too juvenile?" Velnera's skin darkened with embarrassment. "I will request permission from the Council." At Confederation headquarters, tensions were rising. Jack and Kate had demanded access to historical archives that had previously been restricted to Earth representatives. "We have a right to know if you've encountered humans before," Jack insisted to the Council members gathered in the chamber. The Council chair, a being made of what appeared to be living crystal, spoke slowly. "We have no record of prior contact with humans." "Then you won't mind if we search your historical archives ourselves," Kate pressed. After hours of debate, the Council reluctantly granted limited access. Jack and Kate spent days searching through millions of records, looking for any mention of Earth or humans before official contact. On the 5th day, Kate found something. "Jack, look at this." She pointed to an ancient record from a species that had joined the Confederation 15,000 years ago. It referenced a species called the Forerunners who had visited multiple worlds before mysteriously disappearing approximately 30,000 years ago. The physical description matches humans, Jack said, reading the details, and the timing fits with our ancient structures. Kate stared at the screen. If humans were these Forerunners, we weren't just spacefaring 35,000 years ago. We were traveling between stars. Their discovery was interrupted by an urgent message from Earth. The African device had been connected to Confederation quantum computers. It was powering up. "You need to get back here." Sam's voice came through clearly despite being light years away. "It's not just data storage, it's a message. And Jack, it's addressed to the future." Jack and Kate arrived back on Earth 3 days later. The African site had been transformed into a high-security research base. Scientists and officials from both Earth and the Confederation filled the temporary buildings that now covered the beach. Sam met them at the entrance, his eyes showing lack of sleep but burning with excitement. "You won't believe what we found," he said, leading them through the complex. The device contains messages in dozens of ancient languages. Some we recognize as early forms of human language. Others are completely unknown. In the main research tent, Lisa and Velnera stood before a large holographic display. The crystalline cube from the underwater structure sat in a special containment field nearby, glowing with soft blue light. "Here's the most shocking part," Lisa said without looking up from her work. "One of the languages resembles early Confederation record-keeping systems from about 40,000 years ago." "That's impossible," said a new voice. They turned to see Zixtal entering the tent, flanked by 2 other Confederation officials. No human could know that language. "Unless humans helped create it," Kate suggested. Velnera tapped the control panel, and the hologram changed to show star charts. The message contains warnings about a cosmic event and coordinates for locations across the galaxy. "What kind of event?" Jack asked. "We're still translating," Sam explained. "But it seems to be about some kind of cyclical threat that occurs every 50,000 years, something that specifically targets advanced civilizations." One of the officials with Zixtal stepped forward, a tall being with skin like polished metal. "This matches forbidden knowledge in our deepest archives," he said quietly. "Legends of a threat from beyond the galaxy that comes to harvest advanced life, then retreats." Forbidden knowledge. Kate's voice was sharp. "You knew about this and kept it hidden." "It was deemed too dangerous, too likely to cause panic," the official replied. "And there was never any proof, until now." Jack studied the star charts. So ancient humans knew about this threat, and they left warnings scattered across Earth and possibly elsewhere in the galaxy. But why did human civilization fall? Sam wondered. If we were so advanced, why go backwards? Lisa had been quiet, studying a section of the translated message. "I think I know why," she said. "This part talks about hiding in plain sight. It says the harvesters, whatever they are, ignore primitive worlds." The tent fell silent as the implications sank in. "They deliberately regressed," Velnera said, her voice filled with awe. "Your ancestors chose to abandon their technology and return to a pre-industrial state. To save the species," Jack finished. "They gave up the stars to ensure humanity would survive." Kate looked at the Confederation representatives. "And the part about this happening every 50,000 years. If the last cycle was 30,000 to 35,000 years ago, then the next one is coming," Zixtal said, skin patterns swirling with alarm. "Within the next 2 decades, according to these calculations." The metal-skinned official turned to Jack. "The Confederation Council must be informed immediately. This changes everything about our preparation strategies." Jack nodded. "But first, I want complete access to those forbidden archives you mentioned. No more secrets. If this threat is real, and if my ancestors fought it before, we need to know everything." Later that night, Sam and Lisa sat on the beach, looking up at the stars. The waves crashed gently near their feet, hiding the ancient structure that had changed humanity's understanding of itself. "Do you think they did the right thing?" Lisa asked. "Our ancestors, I mean. Giving up their advanced civilization, forcing humanity to climb back up from the Stone Age." Sam thought for a moment. "They saved our species, and they left us breadcrumbs to find when the time was right. The question is," Lisa said quietly, "are we ready for what comes next? If this threat is real, we're about to face something that even our advanced ancestors couldn't defeat, only hide from." In the sky above them, a shooting star streaked across the darkness. Or perhaps, Sam thought with a chill, it was something else entirely. 2 weeks after the message was decoded, the Confederation Council voted to authorize an expedition to the coordinates found in the ancient device. The joint human-alien team was assembled, including Sam, Lisa, and Dr. Velnera, who had become Earth's strongest advocate among the alien scientists. The Confederation's fastest ship, the Stellar Seeker, was assigned to the mission. Its engines could bend space in ways that human science was only beginning to understand. Even so, the journey to the coordinates would take nearly a month. On the day of departure, Jack stood in the launch bay with Kate, saying goodbye to Sam and Lisa. "Find what our ancestors left for us," Jack said, gripping Sam's shoulder. "Whatever it is, we'll need it soon." Kate handed Lisa a small device. "This contains everything we found in their archives about the harvesters. It's not much, mostly legends and fragments." Lisa nodded. "We'll compare it with whatever we find out there." As the team boarded the ship, Velnera approached Jack. "Your people continue to surprise us, Ambassador Miller. In all the Confederation's history, no species has ever faced such a revelation about their own past." "Maybe you should stop making assumptions about other species," Jack suggested with a small smile. The launch was smooth, and soon the Stellar Seeker was just another light in the sky, then gone completely as it jumped to faster-than-light travel. Aboard the ship, Sam spent hours in the observation deck, watching the stars streak by outside. The reality of being the first humans in 35,000 years to travel between stars was not lost on him. "It feels like we're reclaiming something that was taken from us," he said to Lisa when she joined him. "Not taken," she corrected. "Given up to save us all." On the 28th day of travel, the ship's computer announced their approach to the target system. The star was smaller than Earth's sun, with 5 planets orbiting it. The third planet, like Earth, seemed to be in the habitable zone. "Scans show no signs of current civilization," reported the ship's captain, a tall insectoid alien named Kriz. "But there is an artificial structure orbiting the 4th planet." On the main screen, an image appeared of what could only be a space station. Unlike the sleek, organic designs of Confederation vessels, this structure was angular and geometric, clearly built by the same civilization responsible for the underwater structures on Earth. "It's still intact," Velnera said in wonder. "After all this time." The Stellar Seeker approached cautiously. Detailed scans showed the station was powered down but not dead. Some systems appeared to be in a dormant state. "We're detecting an energy signature," Kriz announced. "It's reacting to our presence." Lights appeared along the station's exterior, flickering to life after millennia of darkness. A signal reached the ship's communication system. "It's a docking invitation," Velnera said, translating the signal. "The station is waking up for us." The landing team consisted of Sam, Lisa, Velnera, and 2 Confederation security officers. They wore special suits to protect against any dangers in the ancient environment. They docked at a large airlock that opened automatically as they approached. Inside, gravity and atmosphere were automatically established as they entered. "It's preparing itself for visitors," Velnera noted. "Incredible preservation technology." The halls of the station were wide and tall, built on the same proportions as the underwater structures on Earth. Lights activated as they walked, illuminating symbols and designs along the walls. In the center of the station, they found a vast chamber filled with rows of crystalline pillars. Each pillar glowed with soft light, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. "Data storage," Velnera whispered. more advanced than anything in the Confederation. Lisa approached one of the pillars and placed her hand on its surface. The crystal responded immediately, glowing brighter beneath her touch. A holographic interface appeared before her, displaying symbols similar to those found in the underwater sites. It recognizes human DNA. Sam realized. It was waiting for us. The interface changed, shifting to display human writing, ancient at first, then gradually transforming into modern English. "Welcome, descendants," Lisa read aloud. "You have found the archive." The room hummed with energy as all the pillars brightened simultaneously. Above them, the ceiling transformed into a vast display showing the galaxy, with thousands of points of light marking specific locations. "The full legacy of humanity's first stellar age," Velnera said in awe. "Not just technology, but your entire history." Sam stared upward, his eyes wide. "Not just our history," he said quietly. "Look at those markers. Those are worlds all across the galaxy." One by one, the markers illuminated, each labeled with a date. The oldest dated back nearly 50,000 years. "These are worlds we visited," Lisa realized. "Worlds we helped." Velnera's skin had turned a deep purple color they had never seen before. "The Confederation," she whispered. "We always wondered how it began, how the first species found each other." Sam looked at her, understanding dawning. "It was us, wasn't it? Humans helped create the Confederation before we retreated to Earth." The data confirmed it. Humanity had not just been spacefaring. They had been among the founders of galactic civilization itself. 3 months after the discovery of the archive station, Earth was a planet transformed. Knowledge from the archive had been carefully shared, allowing humanity to reclaim pieces of their forgotten technological heritage. Cities now featured new transportation systems, cleaner energy, and medicine that seemed almost magical compared to what had existed before. But these advances came with a deep responsibility. In the Confederation Council chamber, Jack stood before representatives of all 17 member species. The massive room was silent as he prepared to speak. "For thousands of years," Jack began, "humanity believed we were young among the stars. We thought our civilization began a mere 10,000 years ago. We believed we were newcomers to the galaxy." He gestured to the holographic display showing data from the archive. "Now we know differently. Humans were not just spacefaring 35,000 years ago. We were founding members of the first interstellar alliance, which evolved into the Confederation. We walked among the stars when many of your species were still developing basic tools." Several council members shifted uncomfortably. Jack continued, "But this revelation isn't about pride or power. It's about responsibility. Our ancestors deliberately hid our civilization to protect us from a threat they could not defeat, only avoid." The room darkened as a new hologram appeared. The harvester data from the archive. "According to our ancestors' calculations, this threat will return within 15 years. This time, hiding is not an option. There are too many advanced civilizations across the galaxy." Zixtel, who now served as Earth's advocate on the council, spoke up. "The Confederation acknowledges that we gravely misjudged Earth's status. We have officially reclassified Earth as an elder world, a world experiencing renaissance after collapse," added the crystal-bodied council chair. "The highest classification in our system. On Earth, in what had once been the African Site Research Center, but was now a sprawling technological complex." Sam and Lisa led a team integrating archive knowledge with modern human science. "We've completed the Deep Space Monitoring Network," Lisa announced to the room full of scientists. "Using the ancient designs, we can now detect approaching vessels from 3 times the distance of previous systems." Sam nodded. "And the defense platform prototypes are ahead of schedule. We've successfully tested the shield technology." Velnera, who had requested permanent assignment to Earth, studied the latest simulations. "The harvesters will still outnumber us," she noted. "According to the archive, they attacked with thousands of ships during the last cycle. Which is why we need the entire Confederation working together," Sam replied. No species faced this alone before. In orbit above Earth, construction had begun on a fleet of ships unlike anything seen in the galaxy for millennia. They combined the best of both modern Confederation technology and the recovered ancient designs from the archive. Kate Davis had been appointed fleet commander, overseeing the project from a new space station. She watched through the viewport as workers from a dozen different species collaborated on the massive vessels. "We're reclaiming our heritage," she said to a young officer beside her. "Not just the technology, but the role our ancestors played, guardians of galactic civilization." Later that evening, Jack stood in the rebuilt Earth Embassy aboard the Confederation's Central Station. The walls now displayed artifacts recovered from underwater sites around Earth, alongside star charts showing humanity's ancient journeys. Zixtal entered, her skin patterns calm and respectful. "The final vote was unanimous," she said. "Earth will lead the defense coalition against the Harvesters." Jack nodded. "We've come full circle," he said quietly. "My first day as ambassador. You called us a juvenile species with potential. Now the Confederation looks to us for protection." "We were wrong about many things," Zixtal admitted, "but not about your potential." Back on the archive station, which had become a joint research base, Lisa made a final entry in a log she had been keeping since the first discovery. "Our ancestors left us more than just technology," she wrote. "They left us a warning, yes, but also a purpose. They could have simply hidden the truth forever, letting humanity rebuild slowly over thousands more years. Instead, they left clues, breadcrumbs for us to follow when the time was right." She looked out the viewport at the stars, the same stars her ancient ancestors had traveled among. They had faith that when the moment came, we would be ready to reclaim our place among the stars and face the threat they could not. In 15 years, we'll know if their faith was justified. She closed the log and joined Sam at the main control center. On the screens before them, ships from across the Confederation were gathering, the largest fleet ever assembled, preparing for a threat that only humanity had faced before. "Our ancestors hid to survive," Sam said, "but we're going to fight." Lisa nodded, watching as Earth's new flagship moved into position at the center of the fleet, its name displayed proudly on its hull. "Legacy." "Not just for Earth," she agreed. "For all of us."